We're looking forward to our time together today on Agents of Hope, and we have a great lineup of interviews for you. Have you ever spoken to someone who has experienced fame, only to realize that it isn't all that it's made out to be? Naomi Streimer Bannister got to rub shoulders with some very influential names in mainstream media, only to realize that her call was to use her gifts for God. And anyone out there enjoy going to a nice coffee shop and just having some quality conversations and connections? Stay tuned to hear how Rob Dorelus and his wife Thaksheela are running a cafe to bring hope. You can expect to wrap up our time together with an encouraging thought about the power of music. We hope that our time together will be inspirational, and I have Paul here with me today to help with that. So it's great to have you back with us today.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and great to have you here. How are you doing? Looking forward to sharing some inspirational conversations with you today. Before we go any further, I want to take a moment to say your support matters. It's not just appreciated, it's essential. Agents of Hope has never been about one person or one platform. It's all about all of us, united in purpose, bringing the hope of Jesus to those who need it most. Whether you're giving, praying, serving, or simply sharing the message, you're part of a God-inspired movement that's changing lives across Canada, and your role in this story is irreplaceable. We believe that lasting impact flows from real connection. That's why we'd love to stay in touch with you. In just a moment, you'll see the different ways you can connect with us on social media, YouTube, and through our monthly newsletter. When you follow, like, and subscribe, you're not just keeping up with content, you're fueling a mission. Together, we can reach farther, love deeper, and shine even brighter. Let's keep building this movement of hope, one life, one story, one heart at a time.
Yes, thank you so much for that reminder, Paul. And speaking of reminders, we're so glad you've chosen to join us today, right where you are, whether you're watching from your phone, your TV, your computer. Thank you for inviting Hope Channel Canada into your space. In just a moment, we'll show you some of the other ways you can tune in, just in case there's a platform that better fits your lifestyle or makes it easier to stay connected. We truly believe in the power of Christian media to touch hearts, inspire hope, and share the love of Jesus across Canada. But this work isn't something we can carry alone. It takes all of us praying, giving, and sharing together to keep this message going strong. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being part of this movement. You matter to us, and you matter to this movement.
That's great. Thanks, Michelle, for that important reminder. You know, one of the things we treasure most is hearing from our agents of hope. Real stories from people just like you who've chosen to support Hope Channel Canada with their prayers, time, or financial gifts. These messages aren't just encouraging, they're powerful reminders of what God can do when we come together. And we hope they'll inspire you too, to see how your involvement can make an eternal difference. Saul Machando in Toronto, Ontario says, I grew up watching Hope Channel in Zimbabwe. It helped me to learn more about the Christian life by listening to the teachings and experiences of other believers throughout the world. I like how you get to see and hear from other believers across the world to stay encouraged and build your faith. That is why I will always support it. Thank you, Saul, for sharing from your own experience growing up. And I'm so happy that you've now chosen to support and watch Hope Channel Canada as well. We would love to hear your story, what inspires you about Hope Channel Canada, and why this movement matters to you. Your voice has the power to encourage others and spark hope in ways you may not even realize.
Absolutely. So send us a message at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca or connect with us on social media. We cannot wait to hear from you.
The first interview that we will be sharing is a conversation that Michelle had the pleasure to have with Naomi Streimer Bannister. Naomi was born in upstate New York, but spent her upbringing on a quiet farm in rural Nova Scotia, Canada, secluded from media until she was 10. She signed her first major record deal at 18 years of age with Epic and Sony Records, and traveled the world and worked with some of the most influential names in mainstream music.
Yes, and shortly after, Naomi changed her career path to pursue Christian music ministry after an unlikely encounter in Sean Puff Daddy Combs' New York City hip-hop studio. A chauffeur had approached her with a dream he'd been given about her life, which just changed the trajectory and her focus. She spent 15 years within the Christian music space before transitioning and finding a new calling in real estate, and she currently serves clients in Franklin, Tennessee and the greater Nashville area. She is passionate about building community, excellence, and truly investing into each client, not just providing transactions. God has truly blessed her, and she is married with 2 young children and enjoys traveling, horseback riding, and gardening. I'm looking forward to sharing the conversation that we had. Hi, Naomi. Thank you so much for joining us on Agents of Hope today. It's great to have you as our guest, and I would love to start with a bit of an introduction and just a bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you. And basically, my background was I grew up on a farm in Canada. And then when I was a teenager, I got this big, huge recording contract in New York City and traveled around the world and had a lot of ups and downs. And then the Lord kind of just called me out of pop music. And then I went into Christian music and wrote a book called Backstage Pass. And then did a lot of music ministry and traveled and did stuff for many years. And so and then got married and had a family, and the story continues.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. The story always continues. And since we're actually on Hope Channel Canada, I gather from your story that what you shared so far, that media has somehow impacted your life to cause a career in that. So I'd love to know how that kind of came about.
Absolutely. So when I was young, we actually didn't have any media whatsoever in my household. We didn't watch TV. We didn't have radio, none of that. And I discovered it all when I was around 10. And then, of course, I was very drawn to it. So full-fledged career, head first into it. And then thankfully, I had really great parents who surrounded me and were with me all the time, because it's a very, it can be a pretty dangerous industry. And so I was blessed that I had them. And I think because I was raised on a farm, I was just a very strong-willed person. And so I had been not easily influenced. And I think that really helped me. And I think just having the foundation that I had as a child growing up, I think helped a lot too, because there's a lot of areas in media that you can go off the tracks really easily.
Right. Yeah. And I'd love to know if you could talk a little bit more about your music ministry. You mentioned a shift from pop music to more Christian music, and how you use that to bring hope to those around you.
Absolutely. So I did feel an absolute calling out of the pop music world. It was not subtle whatsoever. There was a moment when I was in the studio in New York City, and a chauffeur had come to me, and he had a dream, and it was really this prophetic moment where he delivered this message that he said an angel had given to him in a dream. And so I remember feeling as though God was calling me out, and following that, I went into music ministry. I didn't really know what that was going to look like. And so that ended up with going to churches and sharing my testimony. And I think many times, when people are going through things, they don't realize that they might be going through it because the Lord is going to use it as a story to help others. And so I took my entire journey through pop music, the ups and the downs and the failures and the successes and the crazy stories, as a tool to minister, to help, because it didn't matter if somebody was in the same line of work as I was or not. We all have different struggles and different temptations and different paths that we can take and choices that we have to make. And so I love, ministry is one of the most rewarding things. And so it was really a beautiful time
Absolutely. And you've shifted to, I guess, a different sort of ministry, helping people find their homes. And I'm curious how you're using media in that capacity, how that can, can be a light in that field as well.
Absolutely. So when we had our two boys, I felt that I was actually being called out of the travel that kind of is a big component of music ministry. And so I had a couple people tell me real estate, and I thought they were crazy, and I really didn't see myself in it. And then, of course, I got licensed, and the first transaction that I did was to help a church purchase their church. And in many ways, I felt like that was God's blessing over my real estate career. And so from that point on, it's been really beautiful because I get to help people, I get to minister to people, people get to share their hearts with me and their stories. And so there's been many times when we're driving around and we get into these very deep conversations. And so I think it's just a further blessing. It's a different type of ministry altogether, but it's still connecting with people, and it's helping people, and it's a major part of their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did want to highlight that because I think some people, they think that ministry has to look a certain way, it has to be in a church, but I believe if we're willing to be used, we can be a light wherever we are. So my last question for you is, do you have any parting words, any inspiration or advice for those agents of hope who are watching today?
Absolutely. I think just like what you said, we can be agents of hope anywhere, doing anything, because if there is someone around you, then you can be a blessing to those people and share your story and share your heart and share how the Lord has changed your life. And I think especially now in today's world, we have social media, we have so many more outlets to be a blessing and be positive. I think people need a lot of positivity in the world right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Naomi, for joining us as an agent of hope, and may you continue to be a blessing in your community.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that we got to hear Naomi's story of bringing hope to those around her, no matter what her current role is. Our next interview is with a true agent of hope. Michelle also had the pleasure to speak with Pastor Rob Dorelus recently and hear a bit of his story. He was born and raised in the Sunshine State of Florida, Palm Beach to be exact. Pastor Rob felt a call to ministry that led him north to Canada. He traded palm trees for snowflakes, you kidding me? And earned a degree in religious studies from Burman University, formerly Canadian University College. From the start, Pastor Rob has been deeply involved in ministry. In Florida, he served in Pathfinder Ministries, led weekly community service projects, and organized humanitarian efforts in Haiti through his nonprofit, Min Anpel Chai Paulao, which just means many hands make the load lighter. For the past 11 years, he has served in Alberta, pastoring a variety of churches in the Edmonton area. Now, as the Youth and Young Adult Director, he's on a mission to uplift and empower the next generation of leaders. When he's not preaching or leading, you'll likely find him at the gym, lost in a good book, or enjoying the lunch special at Padma Nadi. Pastor Rob is passionate about leadership, personal growth, and youth ministry. He is married to his best friend Thaksheela, and together they are committed to keeping the gospel real, relevant, and at the heart of everything they do. Have a listen.
Hello, Pastor Rob. Thank you so much for joining us on Agents of Hope today as our special guest. It would be great to hear a little bit about your story and your background as we begin here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle, for having me here. I'm excited to be here. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Palm Beach, Florida. I traded the palm trees for snowflakes, and I moved from the US to Canada. I went to Burman University, did my undergrad there in theology, and then started pastoring here in the Alberta Conference. So I've actually been with the Alberta Conference for 10 plus years now, involved in different areas of ministry, but it's been awesome. I do ministry with my best friend, which is my wife, and we love doing life together.
That's beautiful and so wonderful that you and your wife are joined in on that vision and doing ministering and working in your community together. And I would love to pull on what you said, things in the community and kind of what you're passionate, what you're excited about right now that you're involved in within the community.
One of the challenges we were able to identify, we noticed that there was a gap. And that's something we were looking to see how we can fill. We noticed that there's a lack of community without any strings attached, with no strings attached. And so my wife, I give huge credits to her. She started this idea of having a third space for people to come and just have wholesome conversations and build community. And our target audience was young adults, Adventists and non-Adventists. And so what we did, we just set up our home. We started with what we had. We started with our home. We set up all these nice cafe-like drinks and treats, and there's no cost. And we started to invite neighbors, friends, colleagues, that person that's standing in line at Costco, creating interruptions and inviting anyone we see to our homes to build community and fellowship.
That's beautiful. And community is something, like I said, Agents of Hope is all about creating that. And so I'm really glad you touched on that. And, you've done a number of these already. So I'm curious how you've seen hope develop and how people are being impacted by these events.
Yeah, it's been powerful, actually. First of all, people are lonely, I think. And it's a great way for them to connect. And I think people can sense when there's this genuine want for connection. And that's what we that's what we try to create at Saturday Cafe.
Absolutely.
And it's awesome to see people come. No one's on their cell phone. Everyone's, they're talking, they're communicating, relationships are being formed. And it's just beautiful to see Adventists and non-Adventists come together to just have wholesome community. So it's powerful.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. And I think you're mentioning that this is something that's growing. And so I'm curious kind of what's next for you guys and what you're envisioning in the future.
Man, I'm so excited for what's about to happen and what's already happening. So we kind of created the Saturday Cafe with a franchise model. So we've been able to see a few locations replicating across Alberta. We had one in Lacombe. We have one coming up in Fort McMurray. We're looking at Calgary to host Saturday Cafe. But I guess the big piece of the puzzle that's next, we're transitioning from Saturday Cafe to the Breakfast Club. And the Breakfast Club essentially is just same kind of concept, but this one is with Bible study, right? So it's breakfast with a gourmet, that's the key word, gourmet breakfast with a side of Bible study. So you come, we have great food that's almost set up like a restaurant, and then at the end we have Bible study. So I've invited a few of our friends who are actually Sikh and Muslim who came to the Saturday Cafe, and it was so cool because they didn't even hesitate. Right? I was so afraid. I was like, man, should I ask them now? Should I ask them before they leave? And they're like, hey, just let us know the time, place, and we'll be there. So it's powerful.
That is powerful and very inspirational and exciting, and it makes me want to join. So I think
we'll invite you to the next one, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And my last question for you, Pastor Rob, any parting words for those Agents of Hope that are watching today?
Yeah, I'm going to take a line from Nike, the brand, and it's simply just do it. Don't delay. I think a lot of times we wait and we have this analysis paralysis. We're trying to get everything perfect. And I just want to challenge you, if God has placed a ministry, an idea, something that you can do in your community, just do it. Don't delay, do it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And thank you so much for joining us as an Agent of Hope and for your time. And may God continue to bless your ministry and all that you do.
Thank you, Michelle. Love you guys and have an awesome day.
Just like Pastor Rob's story, we would love to hear from you and what you're doing in your community so that we can continue to inspire other Agents of Hope. When you share your story, you're not just sharing words, you're inspiring others to step out in faith, become agents of hope, and make a difference in the lives of their family, friends, and neighbors. Your story could be the very spark someone else needs to believe that they too can bring hope to their world.
Absolutely. So please contact us via email at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca so we can arrange a time to hear your story and potentially feature it in a future episode. Your contribution is greatly appreciated.
For sure. You know, Michelle, I'm looking forward to sharing a devotional thought with everyone to encourage them in the coming week. And today, I want to encourage you about the power of music.
Absolutely, Paul. Music is definitely more than sound. It's the language of the soul. From the dawn of creation, music has been a divine gift. It's woven into the fabric of worship, celebration, lament, and praise.
That's right.
The Bible is rich with examples of music's power to uplift, heal, and bring people into the presence of God.
And in 1 Samuel 16:23, we read that when David played the harp, the tormenting spirit that plagued King Saul would depart, and Saul would feel refreshed. Music, anointed by God, had the power to bring peace to a troubled heart. This sacred art form can still calm anxiety, inspire courage, and shift atmospheres today. Throughout Scripture, music is tied to worship. The Psalms, essentially the songbook of the Bible, are filled with praises, cries, and declarations set to music. Psalms 100 verse 2 says, "Serve the Lord with gladness, come into his presence with singing." Singing is not just a ritual, it is a spiritual act that aligns our hearts with heaven and reminds us of God's faithfulness. Music also unites God's people. In Acts 16:25, Paul and Silas sang hymns while imprisoned. Their worship not only brought divine deliverance, but also became a witness to others. Music can break chains, both physical and spiritual. But just as music has power to bless, it also has the potential to influence negatively. And that's why Ephesians 5:19 encourages us to speak to one another with psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody to the Lord with your heart.
Yes. Thank you for that, Paul. And let us be mindful of the music we listen to and share. May it reflect God's beauty, truth, and love. When surrendered to the Lord, music becomes more than a melody. It becomes ministry.
Absolutely. And I do want to say that now, more than ever, our world is in desperate need of hope and people like you who are willing to stand firm in faith and share the love of Jesus with those around them.
Yes, and you are the driving force behind this movement. It's a Jesus-centered cause carrying forward by ordinary people choosing to live with extraordinary purpose, compassion, and courage. And your place in the story? It's not just important, it's indispensable. God is using you to bring hope, healing, and light to this nation.
And through your prayers, your generosity, and your willingness to show up, lives are being transformed in ways only God can orchestrate. You are a light in the darkness, a voice of hope for the hurting, and we are profoundly grateful for you.
Yes, and prayer is the foundation of everything we do. When you pray for this, you're standing in the gap for countless lives, reminding them that they are seen, known, and loved by God. So thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for believing in what God is doing here. We can feel your prayers. And if you feel God is stirring your heart to take the next step, we would be honored to have you join us as a volunteer. You can visit agentsofhope.ca to discover how your gifts, your time, and your story can bring hope to others in powerful, practical ways. Together, we can reach even more lives with the hope of Jesus. And it all begins with your willingness.
Maybe it's 10, 20, 50, or $100, or whatever God puts on your heart. Every gift helps bring hope to someone searching for answers. And for those who feel deeply connected to our mission, a legacy gift or bequest ensures that long after today, your faith and generosity will continue to share the gospel and the hope of Jesus with future generations of Canadians.
Yes, and we would be honored to talk with you and to plan a gift that reflects your vision and your heart.
And we are passionate about this work. We are committed to creating content that transforms lives, producing programs that inspire faith, and building a movement that brings hope to every corner of Canada.
Yes, and if this ministry resonates with you, if you see the incredible value and potential of media ministry, we invite you to partner with us as an agent of hope.
Together, we can reach farther, love deeper, and share hope wider than ever before. Thank you. Thank you for believing in this ministry. Thank you for being part of this story. We are so grateful for you. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for your prayers, your generosity, and for being part of this beautiful, life-changing movement.
And I do want to take a moment to remind you of a gift that we have. For a minimum donation of $30, we're happy to send you, as a token of our appreciation, a curated selection of Bible devotionals that hopefully will enhance your personal study and encourage your heart. Once again, thank you for joining us as an Agent of Hope.
So please donate online at agentsofhope.ca by debit, credit, Google Pay, or Apple Pay. You can also e-transfer to Agents of Hope at hopetv.ca or send a check payable to Hope Channel Canada at the following address: Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H 1H8. Lastly, if you prefer, please call 1-855-4HOPE-TV. That's 1-855-446-7388.
And if you've been impacted by this episode today, I want to encourage you, if you're watching on YouTube, to like, comment, subscribe, and share with somebody else so they can also be impacted. And you know, Paul, it's usually not me who's asking you this, but do you have a song on your heart?
I do, actually. Awesome. Yeah, it's a song called Redeemed. How I love to proclaim it. Redeemed, how I love to proclaim it. Redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. Redeemed through His infinite mercy. His child and forever I am. Redeemed, redeemed, redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. Redeemed, how I love to proclaim it, His child and forever I am.
Thank you for that.
You bet.
You know, we would love to pray for you, as we know you're praying for us.
If you have any requests, please contact us at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca or on social media.
Thank you. And remember, together, we can let Canada know that in Jesus,
there's more to life.